My girlfriend sent me a disheartening message. I found someone else. I want nothing more to do with you. In response, I simply texted back, as you wish. Following that, I took immediate action to block her credit cards and ceased any financial support for her lifestyle. Just a week later, I received frantic calls from her attorney Dot to provide some context. I am a 31-year-old man who appears rather unassuming at first glance. I operate a logistics consulting firm, a venture I initiated in my mid-20s with nothing more than a secondhand laptop and an overwhelming sense of anxiety. The early years were incredibly challenging, marked by 80-hour work weeks and a diet of inexpensive noodles, with every penny being reinvested into the business. However, approximately 2 years ago, I secured a significant contract, followed by another. After years of relentless effort, my niche business finally became quite lucrative, allowing me to enjoy a comfortable lifestyle. For the past 3 years, this lifestyle included my girlfriend, Kayla, who is now 28. When we first met, she was employed as a receptionist but aspired to become a fine arts curator. Although she possessed the passion for her dreams, she lacked both the necessary connections and the financial freedom to pursue them. I was captivated by her spirit. My life, which had been solely focused on work, was suddenly enlivened by her presence. I believed in her aspirations, and for the first time, I had the means to support them. I proposed that she leave her unfulfilling job and concentrate on her art history studies while taking unpaid internships to build her network. I assured her that I would cover all her expenses. I thought we were partners investing in our future together. I took care of her rent for a stylish art-inspired apartment downtown, which cost $3,500 a month, and I co-signed the lease for her. Audi A5, which had payments of $800. I also financed her wardrobe, organic groceries, and art supplies. Additionally, I granted her access to 2 credit cards as an authorized user, rarely checking the statements, as my professional life revolved around managing the details for others. I preferred to trust in my personal life. Our 3-year anniversary was approaching, and I had made reservations at a restaurant she had long wanted to try. I also purchased a beautiful, simple sapphire necklace for her. Excited to surprise her, I returned home early, only to find that she was not there. At 7:15 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Kayla. I found someone else. I want nothing more to do with you. Just 7 words shattered the foundation of our relationship. After 3 years of supporting her entire existence, I found myself staring blankly at my screen, feeling as though I had just received a physical blow that hollowed me out and left me breathless. For a fleeting moment, I was overwhelmed by a torrent of questions. Why? Who? What had I done wrong? However, a strange sense of cold clarity quickly engulfed me. The brutal finality of her words, nothing more to do with you, was paradoxically a gift. It was clear and unequivocal. She had drawn a line. Thus, I responded with a simple 3-word message, as you wish. I then silenced my phone and opened my laptop, allowing the analytical part of my brain to take charge. I transitioned from partner to consultant, viewing the situation as a terminated, non-binding personal arrangement. The solution was straightforward. I needed to sever all financial ties. I logged into my banking portal to deactivate her credit cards, removing her as an authorized user, and the system confirmed the changes would take effect immediately. For the car lease, which was in my name, I couldn't cancel it outright, but could stop the automatic payment, which was due in a week. I did just that. Regarding the apartment, I located the rental agreement and discovered a break clause that required 60 days notice along with a 2-month rent penalty. While inconvenient, it was manageable. I drafted a formal email to the property management company, invoking the break clause and CCING my personal email for documentation.next. I methodically went through all our streaming subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, and others, changing the passwords, removing her profiles, and initiating the process to remove her phone line from my family plan. This entire process took about 45 minutes, and when I finished, I felt a profound emptiness. I packed an overnight bag, left the necklace on the kitchen counter, and decided to stay with my brother, Louise, to avoid any potential confrontation with Kayla when she returned for her belongings. The following week passed in silence, and I assumed she was preoccupied. However, on Friday afternoon, I surmised that her card must have been declined in an important moment, as her texts began to arrive, first pleading, then confused, and finally angry. I read them but chose not to respond. It was not until this morning, a full week after our breakup, that I received an email with the urgent subject line regarding Kayla Vance. It was from a partner at a downtown law firm, stating that he represented Miss Vance and needed to speak with me immediately concerning my abrupt cessation of established financial support. It appeared that my simple reply of "as you wish" was not the conclusion she had anticipated. As a brief update, I want to express my gratitude for the supportive comments on my original post, which have been immensely grounding. This past week has been a profound lesson in audacity. Following the advice I received, I have since hired my own attorney. My father has relied on Mr. Phillip for business contracts for many years, and I decided to follow suit. Mr. Phillip exuded sharpness and a no-nonsense demeanor. After I outlined the circumstances surrounding my situation, he peered over his glasses and remarked, "Well, son, it seems you've stumbled upon a new species of predator." He meticulously reviewed the email from Kayla's attorney, a man named Mr. Bobby, and chuckled at the term malicious cessation, characterizing it as the legal equivalent of an angry toddler throwing a tantrum. While it was designed to sound intimidating, he assured me it lacked any real legal merit. Mr. Phillip promptly composed a clear and concise response to Mr. Bobby, clarifying that our clients were never married, had no joint assets, and that the relationship, and consequently the series of voluntary gifts associated with it, had been terminated by Miss Vance herself. He concluded by stating that any further communication should be directed through him. However, rather than leading to a simple demand for $75,000, Mr. Bobby's reply took a more insidious turn. He sent a formal letter proposing a confidential, transitional support settlement filled with rhetoric about Kayla's significant career and emotional investment in the relationship, asserting that my sudden withdrawal of financial support had caused her professional setbacks and severe emotional distress. They proposed that I continue paying her rent and car payments for 6 months, in addition to providing a parting sum of $20,000 to avoid protracted and public litigation. It was nothing short of a shakedown. Mr. Phillip advised that we ignore it entirely, suggesting they expend their resources as pursuing a lawsuit under these circumstances would be seen as malpractice. The real complications arose as the consequences of this situation began to unfold. On Saturday, I received a frantic call from Judith, the property manager of Kayla's previous apartment. She informed me that Kayla had arrived with her new boyfriend, Russell, demanding access to the apartment. Judith refused, explaining that Kayla's name was not on the lease. In response, Kayla reportedly created a scene, shouting about her life's work being trapped inside. Russell, attempting to assert dominance, threatened Judith, claiming, "We can make this very difficult for you." Judith, a seasoned professional who had seen it all, simply pointed to the no trespassing sign and suggested he read it. Shortly after, I received a text from Kayla disregarding the lawyers. "You can't just throw me out. My internship portfolio is in there. I have a review next week." The Audi dealership just called. The payment was declined. The car is co-signed. You're ruining your own credit too. Are you stupid? It was a bluff. My credit was solid, and a single late payment wouldn't make the slightest dent. However, it was clear she was grasping at straws. Russell, who is a real estate developer, chimed in, saying, "You're playing games you can't win." I chose not to respond, instead taking screenshots of the entire exchange and sending them to Mr. Phillip, who was delighted by the direct contact after legal counsel had been engaged. He remarked, "She's a gift that keeps on giving." The most underhanded move came the following day when a mutual acquaintance forwarded me a screenshot of Kayla's private Instagram story. It featured a tearful selfie with the caption, "Finally, escaping a financially abusive and controlling relationship. The road ahead is terrifying, but I'm so grateful for those showing me what real support looks like. Survivor." In that moment, she was framing me as an abuser for no longer financing her lifestyle after she chose to leave me for another man. Mr. Phillip is now drafting a cease and desist letter regarding her slanderous claims. We have arranged for her to retrieve her belongings with 2 neutral movers present and her attorney on site to supervise. This time, I am ensuring there is a clear inventory list, as it seems she believed she could simply replace me as her provider, while retaining all the benefits that came with our relationship. It is truly unbelievable. Update 2, the entire saga has taken an unexpected turn. The move out was a disaster, but not in the way I had anticipated. The fallout from her survivor stunt has begun to ripple outward in unforeseen ways. The move out was scheduled for Saturday morning. I had hired the movers, and Mr. Phillip prepared an inventory list, specifying personal effects only, with her lawyer, Mr. Bobby, confirmed to supervise at 10 o'clock m. at 9:45 a.m. I received a call from one of the movers. "Sir, the lady and a gentleman are here. They're claiming their lawyer is running late and want to get started." My stomach dropped. I immediately contacted Mr. Phillip, who instructed me to tell the movers not to allow access until he arrived. Unfortunately, it was too late, as the movers, trying to be accommodating, had already permitted them into the building lobby. Mr. Phillip then called Mr. Bobby, who confirmed he was stuck in traffic and would be 30 minutes late. I suspected it was a setup. I instructed the movers to maintain their ground and allow only the personal boxes to be moved. For the next half hour, Kayla and Russell attempted every trick in the book to gain access. They tried to intimidate the movers by claiming they were part of the crew Russell had hired. Kayla resorted to tears, alleging the movers were bullying her. The situation escalated over the furniture. Kayla insisted that the custom bookshelf, ergonomic desk, memory foam, mattress, and 65-inch old TV were all gifts, and therefore rightfully hers. She and Russell attempted to move the TV themselves. This is where the professionalism of the movers truly shone. The lead mover, a large man, calmly stepped in front of them and stated, "Folks, that item is not on my inventory sheet of approved. Personal effects, please put it down." Russell puffed out his chest and challenged him, "Who are you to tell us what to take?" The mover remained unfazed, replying, "I'm the person this man hired to prevent theft from his property. Put it down, or my next call will be to the police." Just then, Mr. Phillip arrived. He did not raise his voice. He simply looked at Kayla, then at Russell, and finally at the TV they were trying to move. He produced the receipts for all the furniture, clearly showing my name as the buyer. He informed Kayla that since her attorney was not present, her attempts to remove property constituted a breach of their agreement, and if they did not leave with only the boxed items on the list, he would file a police report for attempted grand larceny. Defeated and enraged, Kayla and Russell hastily gathered her boxes and departed. leaving behind a considerable mess scuff marks on the walls and trash strewn across the floor. The landlord subsequently billed me $1,200 for damages. Mr. Phillip promptly forwarded the bill along with the mover's incident report to Mr. Bobby. What followed was an outcome beyond my control. My form of retribution ended up being relegated to the court of public opinion. Recall the Instagram post where Kayla painted herself as a survivor? Kayla was working or had been working as an unpaid intern at a small but prestigious art gallery. The art community here is tight-knit and interconnected. One of the junior curators, a woman named Leslie, whom I had met a few times, came across the post. Knowing me well enough to discern that the accusation of financial abuse was baseless, she felt disgusted. Without any prompting, she simply shared the post with another colleague, and the story began to spread like wildfire. Kayla Vance, the intern who lived like a millionaire without a job, was now publicly slandering the man who had funded her life. After she left him for a real estate agent, this narrative transformed her image from a survivor into a deeply unserious and toxic individual. The gallery director, a woman who prioritizes reputation above all, discreetly informed Kayla last week that her internship was no longer a suitable fit. The fallout from her actions extended beyond financial implications. It became a matter of reputation, and I hadn't had to lift a finger. Final update: I am writing this one last time to take ownership of the narrative. The original post has circulated in ways I never anticipated, and I want the complete and accurate story to serve as the final word before I close this chapter for good. For a period following my last update, things were relatively quiet. I chose to donate all the furniture from the apartment to a charity that assists families in need. Watching those belongings leave felt like a final cleansing. I paid the lease break penalty, settled the remaining utility bills, and felt the last ties to Kayla dissolve. Life settled into a routine of work, gym sessions, and dinners with my brother. The anger gradually faded, leaving behind a scar and an invaluable lesson. The conclusion of this saga emerged from two pivotal sources. First, my lawyer, Mr. Phillip, received one last blustering letter from Kayla's attorney, Mr. Bobby. After he was sent the bill for damages and the mover's incident report, Mr. Phillip's response was succinct. He included a formal notice indicating that any attempt to pursue legal action would be met with a counterclaim for damages, mover's fees, legal fees, and a separate civil suit for defamation based on her social media posts. He concluded the letter with the pointed remark, "We have all the receipts." Do you? The response was absolute silence on their end. They folded. It was over. The second part of the conclusion came from Leslie, the junior curator at the gallery. About 2 weeks ago, she reached out to me via email with a simple and kind message. "Hey, I hope you're doing okay. Things got pretty messy here after Kayla left. Thought you might want to see this." Attached was a link to a public Facebook post made by Kayla's father. My heart sank, fearing something terrible had occurred, but it turned out to be something entirely different. The post was a lengthy, rambling, heartbroken message. While he did not name me, he discussed his daughter's decision to leave a stable, supportive man for a flashy fraud living a debt-laden lifestyle. He expressed that the pressure of meeting Kayla's expectations without my resources had crushed her new relationship. Russell was not a real estate developer. He was a commission-based agent whose ostentatious lifestyle was built on shaky financial ground. His income was inconsistent, and the drama Kayla brought with her, including the story of being let go from her internship due to unprofessional conduct, had reached his colleagues. In a business where reputation is paramount, being associated with a messy and potentially litigious situation was toxic. His sales plummeted and the financial strain became unbearable, resulting in a massive and explosive breakup. According to her father's post, Kayla had to move back home, stripped of her finances, her internship, and her car, which had been repossessed. She had alienated most of her genuine friends, and her dream of becoming a fine arts curator lay in ruins, replaced by the stark reality of living in her childhood bedroom, deeply in debt. He concluded his post with a poignant statement. She had a ladder to her dreams and chose to jump off it for a snake. The consequences were complete. They were all natural. Her slanderous and entitled behavior destroyed her professional reputation. Result: her internship and future prospects in the local art scene vanished. Her new boyfriend, who was all style and no substance, couldn't afford her. Result: their relationship imploded under financial and reputational pressure. Her attempts to bully movers and sue me for fabricated promises blew up in her face. Result: she got nothing but a bill and a threat of a countersuit. Do I feel good about this? No, there is no joy in it. Instead, there is a quiet, somber sense of order being restored. Justice isn't a lightning bolt. It is simply gravity, I replied to Leslie, thanking her for reaching out. We exchanged a few friendly words, and it felt refreshing to have a normal conversation with someone connected to that chapter of my life. It was a reminder that not everyone is a predator. My life is my own again. I am concentrating on my business and prioritizing my well-being. I've learned to trust more cautiously, verify diligently, and recognize that while it is possible to support someone's dream, it should not come at the cost of becoming the foundation they can easily dismantle. I never heard from Kayla or Russell. Again, I have no knowledge of what they're doing now, and I have finally come to terms with that. This is where my story concludes.